Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yes.
So
Riley.
it's related to what we're saying loosely. If we're all evil and we're not good, are manners necessary to just get through life so we don't kill each other?
That's a good question. No,
We should
because
just
manners are no manners. The fake manners are no manners.
right.
And so I forget about your manners.
So no please, no thank
Because those
you.
manners are evil too.
No please, no thank you, no pleasantries. Just be like Hake over there.
Yeah. No, when you get rid of all your morals and stuff like that, your morality and all that,
Yeah.
only weak people have morals.
Okay.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Only weak people have morals.
You gotta explain that.
Just gonna let that one go.
I'm sorry?
Please explain.
Do you disagree with that?
I think I get what you're saying, but I'd love to know in depth what
Okay.
you mean.
All right. Do you disagree with that, Joel?
No, I just think you need to give context to it because it can be misinterpreted what you mean by it.
And how you interpret it now. When you first heard it, how did you first interpret it?
Well, I know what you mean. I know what you mean by it.
Oh, well, don't say that.
Yeah.
You heard me say before?
Yeah, but I know
Oh,
what you
okay.
mean. I know what you mean.
All right. When you heard that, what did it mean to you? What did you think about that?
It reminded me of
This is so good, I can hardly stand it. It really, really is. Go ahead.
It reminded me of Captain Kurtz in The Hearts of Darkness.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
he referred. I don't know if you want to hear this. No, it's an Apocalypse Now reference. He was up in the jungles and he told the guy that came to assassinate him that he thought it was strong that the Viet Cong cut off all the baby arms after they were inoculated. He thought that that was brilliant and it showed true strength to do something like that.
Right on. I didn't see the move, but okay. I'll take it. Weak people are immoral. No such thing as a strong moral person. And if you notice when it's kind of what the young lady was saying, and Hate was saying, it's all an act. It's all fake. They have no more. The person that says they're moral, they'll turn on you in a minute. They'll lie to you in a minute. They'll put on an act in front of you in a minute. They'll pretend they understand when they really don't in a minute. They'll quote the scriptures in a minute and praise the Lord. And they'll tell you how more they are, and they will compare their morality to yours. And if it's not the same, they'll judge you. They'll only agree with the people that have the morals that they have. It's weak. Morality doesn't work because it's fake. It's all weak people. Look how weak the people with the moral, look how weak they are. You can't trust them. They gossip. They turn on their own family members, own children, and they turn on themselves. They're weak. Because it's fake. It's not a real, it's that they've been taught more, like you've been taught to say thank you. Hello, thank you, please. You've been taught that from your parents. And they only made you learn to say it because they were weak. They didn't want to look embarrassed if the kid didn't say thank you. They thought it would reflect them, so they made you say it so that they could look good in the eyes of whomever the kid saying thank you to. They taught you wrong, and they made you weak. And sometimes people give you a gift and you say thank you, you don't even like it. Because you're too afraid to say, I don't like this. You're afraid. You're being controlled by fear. You smile when you really don't want to smile. Because you're afraid. Your morality, you're weak. You have fear. You're taught with people, or a person that loves to talk all the time, and you see that person coming and they want to talk. You don't really want to talk, but you sit there and listen to them, and you'll make up a talk or conversation where you really wish this person would go away. But you talk to them anyway, rather than saying, go away. I don't want to talk. You're controlled by fear because you're afraid of what they may think of you. Isn't that amazing? You'll go along with others, even the preacher or anybody, you'll go along with them because you're afraid to say, I don't understand or I don't agree. Because you want to appear nice in all things. Yes, ma'am. Did that make sense a little bit, Joel?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just so I can understand what you're saying, do you not think, though, like there should be, or there's a need for certain pleasantries in life?
So what now?
Like, what you're describing, like, I mean, I could be wrong, but, like, isn't that just, like, certain pleasantries in life of when you meet people? You should say please and thank you. You should, like, you know what I mean? Like, opening the door for somebody, being polite, right?
Right. And why should you be that? Why should you say that?
Because otherwise all of our interactions are just going to be, like, real, like...
But it's not real anyway.
Yeah, I know it's not real. I get that, but like if we all were to be our complete and utter natural 100% selves, like I kind of feel like the world wouldn't go round because we'd all be like really rude and like...
But it's all really rude now in the world.
Yeah, but you know what I mean though.
Human
Like,
beings are evil and nasty.
I understand, I agree with
And
you.
they open the door for you, you say thank you when you know you don't even like that person, open the door.
But then, like, what are you supposed to do, though? Like, you're supposed to be, I
Good
don't like you,
question.
close the door. Let me get a door. You
Well,
see what
why
I
do
mean?
you
Like,
need to say thank you when someone opens the door for you?
because they've taken a second out of their day to hold the door for you so that you can come through.
That's not why you say thank you. You say thank you because you want the person to open the door to think that you see them as a nice person, and you want them to see you as a nice person because you said thank you. Because if you just say thank you, that person's going to think you're a mean person. Oh, that's an old selfish, mean person. I shouldn't have opened the door for
No,
them.
I just think there's like such thing as like common decency,
What's common decency?
like being respectful, being polite.
Meaning what?
The example of the door. If somebody opens the door, I don't really, me personally, don't really care about what that person thinks about me, but I'm still going to say thank you because they took 2 seconds out of their day to hold the door for me.
But why? But it's a thank you for them or for you?
I'm saying thank you to them to acknowledge the fact that they held the door for me.
And why?
Because I feel like there's certain things that is the right thing to do.
But where you get that from? That it's the right thing to do.
Huh? Sorry, I missed that.
Where did you get that from? That it's the right thing to do.
Well, I think that would probably go back to like how you're raised,
Right. You
right?
were
Which
taught
I
that.
understand, but I still think...
Would you think would have been better had they not taught you that and let you discover on your own to say nice or thank you, or that they taught you to say nice? I mean, to say thank you.
I know the answer that you're probably going to say is to be allowed to see it for yourself and not be taught anything, but I don't know if I agree with that at this moment.
And why not? But how do you know what I'm going to say?
Because there's a Jesse answer. So I'm just saying that I think I hear you and I understand what you're saying, but I still think I feel like there's levels to it. Like I feel like just saying please and thank you is like very minimal.
But why?
Because I feel like it's something that you should acknowledge. Like
Why?
Because it's the right thing to do.
What's right about that?
Okay, let me think of a practical example. If I don't know, I'm driving my car and
So let me ask you this then. If it's right to say thank you for someone opening the door, is it wrong not to say thank you?
that's a great point.
No, that's a question.
I wouldn't judge them for not acknowledging
That's
it.
not
but
the question. Is it wrong to not say thank you?
I don't think so, no, but I think that people should.
But if there's a right, there has to be a wrong.
Sure.
And so why do you say it's not? Are you saying it's not wrong not to say thank you?
Because I feel like it goes back to like societally what's expected,
Right.
right? Because
And why
if you
should
said,
we live the way society expects us to live?
sure,
No, that was the question.
no. I'm not saying that we should. I see, that's what I'm saying. I see your point, but like I still feel like in those little things, like it's polite. If I baked you a cake, right? I don't know. I baked you a really nice cake. Your
You
favorite.
bought one today?
No, I didn't. But
You nasty woman.
right, that's what I'm saying. Like if I baked you a cake or a pie or your favorite something, and I spent all this effort and time, and I did it just because I love to bake or whatever, and then I gave you something, the natural thing would have most likely, if it was me, I would say, oh, thank you.
And
Like if
why?
I just gave you something and you said absolutely nothing, to me that would be a little bit weird.
Why?
But I also wouldn't go into it expecting it.
You would be expecting me to say thank you.
No, I wouldn't. Knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have any expectation.
But you would, because you would think that it's weird if I did, you went through all this work to bake the cake, bring the cake, give me the cake, and I just take the cake and walk away.
That would be a very strange interaction. Yeah.
Right, because you expected a thank you.
Maybe.
And then I would have to say thank you to make you feel better because I knew you were expecting a thank you. And if you didn't get one, you're going to think it's weird.
So then, how do you practically day to day go about your opinion on this? Like, if we're not supposed to say thank you or please or
That's a good question.
how's that work?
I'll
Do you know
tell you
what I
in a
mean?
minute. That's a really good question. I'll tell you in a minute. Don't let me forget to respond to that, all right?
Okay.
It's a really good question.
Cool.
I saw here first and then there. Amazing. Y'all finally waking up a little bit.
Yeah, I heard an example this week. This guy was saying how he let another car go through and like let him pass, and the person didn't give him that hand wave to say thank you back. And he was really pissed about it. He was just like, well, where's my hand wave? He was,
Yeah.
people don't, they're just evil.
That's what a good point. We've been taught to say thank you and to acknowledge and get back, and if we don't, we call it wrong. If the person let you in front of them and they don't wave their hand, fine. You let them. Why did you let them? Did you let them in to get a thank you? Did you let them in so they could stroke you by saying thank you or wave at you? It's all ego. It's to make you feel good.
Correct.
You did it with the expectation to be made to feel good, all ego. Amazing, huh? Let me take this young man, that's your hand? And then the young lady. Yes?
Yeah, so I think maybe this kind of correlates back to that conversation about the shopping cart, is if you want to do it, if somebody opens the door for you, if you want to say thank you, you can. There's no obligation to say or not say thank you.
Right.
But then
And
also...
there shouldn't be an expectation either.
Exactly.
But
But
go
also for like, I think the morality, the thing that first kind of came to my brain when you said that is, like when the Israelites came out of Israel or Egypt, they wanted like all these rules and regulations, and God was like, just be a good, or just be yourself / follow the Holy Spirit. And they're like, no, we need rules. So then that's when the whole 10 Commandments had to come down and say, hey, here's what to do, but you should know, don't
And they
steal.
still broke the rule.
Exactly.
They broke the 10 Commandments.
So you don't need morality per se. You should know the right thing to do, or if you really pursue it. But we as humans, we want those rules so that we can say, hey, we've checked off
Yeah.
the boxes.
Amazing. Let me take here, and that's all you have. Okay. Yes.
To add to her point, I think it's more of a way to communicate in a sense. Like, I think deep down, a lot of people innately know that human beings are evil. So it's a way to like communicate that you're not a threat. You know? Like, it's not necessarily being nice or being wrong. It's just your way to communicate that you're not a threat. So I'm going to put my hand up when you let me across, or
That way you don't
say
shoot
thank
me.
you. Yeah, you know? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way, but good point.
Okay.
Because you let somebody in, and then if you don't wave, You're going to shoot them. Now you're ticked because they didn't acknowledge you let them in. Now you're riding down the freeway trying to get away from them.
Yeah.
Because they're going to kill you. Because they're a tick.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yes.
I think I understand what you're saying. Like yesterday, I was at Trader Joe's and there was this homeless man, and he was begging for money. And when I got out of Trader Joe's, I saw him, and he kept saying like, "Oh, like I really need money for A, B, and C." And I realized like I felt scared not to give him money because I
Yep.
felt like, if I don't give him
Controlled by
money,
fear.
if I don't give him money, he's gonna think that I'm mean. And then I was judging myself, and I was slowly reaching into my bag to give him money. But I'm like, no, like I don't want to be ruled by my fear. Like if I really wanted to give him money, I would just not even think about it. I would just give him money.
Yeah.
But because I was just thinking about it so hard and I was like shaking, I just walked away and I didn't really think about it anymore. But I hope to one day be able to just do without thinking about
Right
it so
on.
hard.
Here's what I want you to do next time you see a homeless person. Totally ignore them.
Yeah.
You walk by them as though you didn't even see them. Because what they do is they get your attention. And once they got your attention, they know you're going to give up money. They know and so they work hard to get your attention. So walk by them, even if they say hi, ignore them. All right? See how hard that's going to be for you.
I feel like that's easy for me.
To
Like,
ignore?
Yeah,
Good.
to ignore, yeah.
Yeah, don't judge them, just ignore them.
Okay.
Amazing. I was talking to, I do a lot of counseling, right? And I was talking to a ex-husband of this woman, and the ex-husband was told me that they're gonna have to pay child support, start paying child support. And I'm like, why? Or whatever I asked. And I noticed the first thing that the ex-husband went into was pity. Oh, well, she's not working. And I know she's not doing anything. It just ain't working. I'm like, so what? They're making up excuses. I want you to notice that in your mind, if you pay attention, your mind is always making up excuses and giving you reason, telling you this and telling you that, sad stories and happy stories and sad stories, and you're listening to the mind and thinking that you need to make a decision based on what you're thinking. You don't trust yet or believe yet that all your thoughts are lies. You still believe them. That's why your fears can control you. Your fears tell you where to sit, even in this room. Your fears tell you sit in the same seat, the same row, do what you. We're a family, like the family do. Not that y'all should stop sitting together. Like we're a family, let's sit together. Those are thoughts. Why not sit freely about and get the chance to see how you feel, what you're thinking sitting to a stranger? You're afraid to sit to a stranger. You're afraid to even sit in a strange seat or a strange row that you haven't sat in all your life. You want to get somebody, you come in here late and somebody take that seat, you want to cuss them out. and then you want to sit around that chair somewhere. Your fear control you. But you don't call that fear. You think when I say fear, as you use the example, walking across the street, you have minute-to-minute daily fears that you don't even notice. You're afraid that you won't look right when you get dressed and leave the house. You wonder how will I look and how the people are going to see me. You're afraid. You have so many fears that you don't even know yet. You are being controlled by your fears. But and I'm not talking about just physical fear. You should be concerned about that. Watch yourself. But you're being controlled every moment in your mind and you don't know it. Because you have a category as a good thing or a bad thing. You have a category of what's good or what's bad, and both are wrong. Both are wrong, and you're being dictated by that. You're being dictated by what society say. Society, our parents and the teacher and the preachers have taught us to say yes and thank you. They've taught everyone that, and then if somebody don't say thank you, you're ticked. I'm never going to give them anything anymore. They didn't even appreciate it. You're not saying thank you because you really want to say thank you. You've been taught. You've been taught. There is a right way to be nice, but not the way you think it is. If you want to be a nice person, you got to overcome all of your imagination, all of your thoughts. I read a book from the 1800s, and in there it says, the human beings are being controlled. No, it says human beings are enslaved by their morality. You're enslaved by your morality. You got to try hard to be what you've been taught, morality-wise, and if you don't, you feel like a failure, like something is wrong. And you judge other people who don't live by your enslaved morality. Oh, that person is immoral. Look at how they're acting. Isn't that amazing? You're enslaved and don't even know it. You're not free. You could be free, but you got to get free of the mind. Human being. Did I see the hands? Okay. Before I get into this human being thing, I want to tell you about that. Yes.
Well, I guess this just kind of goes about what we're talking about, the politeness and like being kind, and what you were saying about the homeless man. So, I live in Texas, and it's obviously very different from California. And where I live, there are on a lot of these street corners, there are signs that say like, say no to street charity. And there's even like QR codes. That's like, if you see somebody out here panhandling, like scan it and just report the intersection, and we'll send somebody out here and tell them to move it along. But there's signs everywhere that are like, don't give people money if you see them here, like report them. And ultimately, I think it's better for our communities to not have these people standing out here. It keeps them cleaner, it keeps them safer.
Absolutely.
And so again, I think it ultimately comes down to like, it's not maybe the kind thing, but it's the better thing for our community and our society.
Absolutely. They have done the homeless people and America a disservice by catering to homeless people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's done especially to the homeless people. Homeless people are so nasty and selfish and don't care, and they feel like they're entitled now. And the mayor of LA, I was looking at her recently, and she's always talking about the unhoused, right?
Yeah.
She's building for the, and look at this fake grin she has on her face. This Karen is just as evil as they come. Mm-hmm. Because she's not doing anything good for the state, for the city, but she acts like she's doing something great for the unhoused.
Right. And in Texas too, like they really just don't allow like homeless people to congregate like on empty properties, and even on like underpasses and things. If they start noticing like homeless people congregating there, then they just build like a big fence all the way around it. So it's like we don't have to keep coming back and forth. It's like you just can't get in. And so they just find these ways to keep people out, because it's like, yeah, we don't want them there, and yeah, it's just not really tolerated. And that's something I really appreciate about.
I noticed how they throw trash on people, businesses in the yard, and don't care. They'll empty your whole trash can out and leave it there and walk away.
Not in Texas.
And come back every day and do it the same thing over and over again. Isn't that amazing? Mm-hmm. They've been taught to be that way. Mm-hmm. The law is on their side, not yours. So they've been spoiled, and they are getting worse and worse and worse. Mm-hmm. It's horrible. Really horrible. The people who are doing it are evil, and the homeless people who are doing it are evil. Mm-hmm. Accepting it as evil. Isn't that amazing?
It is.
Amazing. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of expand on like politeness and kind of being taught to be polite, and how that comes from like the wrong place. And like from like my personal like childhood, whenever my aunts and uncles would send us birthday cards, we were expected to send thank you cards back to them. And then if I didn't send them a thank you card, they would get together and start being like, we didn't receive your thank you card yet. And it made me so resentful when I would get the thank you, or when I would get the birthday cards, because now I was like, I need to go out and buy thank you cards. I need to sit down and spend all this time writing it back to them. And it made me resentful because it was expected to do that nice thing, even though it is a pleasantry, and I was thankful for the card, but then the expectation of having to get something back. It's almost like they were doing it specifically to get something in return.
100%.
And I resented it. And when I stopped doing that, like I was kind of one of the first one of my cousins to stop writing thank you cards back to people. I was like they hated it. They complained
Yes.
about it. They would bring it up at every family event that I was so rude and I was so like I was just so not, I just didn't appreciate their gestures. And I saw that hypocrisy where I'm like, if I'm actually thankful, it should come from a genuine place. And that's the thing about the morality thing. If you're being taught that you have to be this way, you're only doing it from that expectation rather than operating from the correct spirit. And I think it's so funny when people say like, oh, well, if we didn't have morality, everything's going to go into chaos. But it wouldn't if everyone was like, operating from the right spirit. You would say thank you, you would open the door, but you wouldn't get anything from it because you wouldn't be identifying with that gesture as, oh, I'm a good person for holding it open, I'm a good person for saying thank you. You would just do it because whatever it is, if it's the right thing in that moment, you would do it, but you wouldn't even think anything of it. And that's like, I don't know, I just think that that's really interesting.
If parents never taught their children to say thank you, they will eventually say it because they want to say it, and it'll be perfect. They wouldn't, and they would say it without anything in return. They wouldn't need to feel good for saying it. They wouldn't worry about if you liked it or not, if they said it or not said it. But you have taught them enslaved morality. You gotta let your little morality go if you want to be free. You gotta let it go. And I'll get to that in a minute here. I'm looking at the clock, and now y'all all excited. Raise your hands, and I'm loving it. Don't forget that thought. Don't forget the thought. What do you think about that?
No, I think she's correct. I think she's right, and I see aspects of what she's saying. Within my British family, like people would send cards over. Even like my grandma would still send us cards, but I don't send a card back unless I want to, right? So I totally agree with what she's saying. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The world would turn on you if you didn't follow their morality. Just as you were saying, you're absolutely right about that. Because it's a false morality, it's not real. It's an ego thing, it's in here.
And then you like think that you're a good person because you're like, oh, I did the right thing, and then you're making that judgment on yourself. And it's like the fact that you're doing it for that reason to make yourself feel good is the wrong reason to do it anyways.
Yeah.
And I have another like little point coming back to what do we notice about human nature? Was that the question? I forget what it was. Human nature being evil.
Yes.
And I realize like people are so addicted to their thrills and their suffering, and they love complaining, and they love to impose their complaining on other people.
Yep.
And they want people to like make them feel good, kind of in the same vein as like the card thing with my family. I learned from a really young age, like I was a really good writer, and I was able to like tap into making people have like emotional reactions to my writing. And as a kid, I was able to like use that to control people's emotions. And like, so my mom expected for every Mother's Day and every Father's Day, because she was a single mother, she wanted some like written out, how great of a mother she is, like how, she's the best mom ever, to the point where my mom, I wrote it on Facebook. This is back in the day when you would like post that on Facebook, it'd be big, it'd get all the likes. My mom like printed this comment off of Facebook, printed it out, blew it up, and has it framed in her house to this day because she wanted me to like idolize her and make her my God, essentially. And so when I stopped doing that, like I stopped saying like these long happy birthday messages, like I'm not going out of my way to do that. And people turned on me for me not making them feel a certain way. They're like, I didn't get your birthday message this year. And it's like, yeah, because I don't feel it. And like they only want it because it makes them feel a certain way. And it's so evil. It's so evil. And like when I pulled that back, watching them like, they're like addicted to having people make them feel a certain way, and it's not coming from a genuine place.
A good example.